There's a lot of money being made off of menopause right now. The menopause industry is growing faster than the menopause science. And before we start learning about products and powders and supplements and snack bars, we have some basic questions such as why does menopause present so differently among women? My severe may not be your severe. Your hot flash may be my joint pain. Symptoms happen inside lives, inside stress, inside history. So, why are we being treated like a multi-billion-dollar market before we are being understood as human? As we approach the holiday season with family and friends coming together to share a meal, some of us may not have food to put on the table. So if you're in a position to help, do so. Help someone in need. Give to a food pantry. No one's child in this land of plenty should have to go hungry. Hi, I'm Dr. Rahman, and welcome to Black Women's Health Podcast. For this conversation, I will use the term menopause in a very special way. I will say menopause, and it will not refer to that once in a lifetime event when you have gone 12 months from your last menstrual cycle, but rather, when I say menopause, I am talking about the full spectrum, including perimenopause and postmenopause. As an OBGYN, I have seen patients transition from perimenopause to postmenopause. And menopause is not always easy. And there is just no way to predict what symptoms she may experience, and there's no way to determine in advance how severe her symptoms will be, if any. Because yes, it's true, there are some women who go through an uneventful menopause. But what I want to emphasize is that irrespective of that, menopause is still just a physiologic process. It's not a disease. It's not necessarily something that needs to be fixed. You are not broken. Your body has transitioned to the next stage of life. And similar to when we started our menstrual cycles, each woman experiences it differently. And for some of us, and for some of us, we need help navigating the changes. But right now, there's a growing multi-billion-dollar market forming around menopause. And a lot of people see the opportunity to sell their service or sell their products, potentially take advantage of women as women try to navigate these changes in their lives. And that's what concerns me. When there's a market this large, over 1 million women enter into menopause each year in the United States. And so the question becomes, by giving all of this to women, are we helping them, or are we just creating more confusion, doubt, and uncertainty? Because there's a lot out there. There's powders and red lights and supplements and snack bars and pharmaceuticals, and not all of the claims are supported by strong evidence. The food industry has recognized the market that is women's health. And they recognize that women prefer non-pharmaceutical products or non-pharmaceutical options to improve their sleep, to reduce their stress, to support weight loss, to improve their memory and their focus. Nestle, one of the largest food and beverage companies, has committed to working on women's health. That gives me pause. It seems as though women are getting more products, but not necessarily more answers, not more research, more branding, but not necessarily more science, more messages that play on our fears. Your memory is not as good as it used to be. You don't have any functional eggs remaining. Your hormone levels are deficient. Your value has lessened. And that is simply not true. What we know is that menopause can present differently. And because of that, we have what's called the menopause rating scale, basically a list of 11 symptoms associated with menopause. And beside each symptom, there's a rating from none to very severe. And a woman can then track her menopausal symptoms. And she can also share with her doctor because we know that a woman might have mild joint pain and severe anxiety. Another woman might have difficulty sleeping and hot flashes. Often there's weight gain, but the question is the majority of weight gain seen at midlife in women due to menopause? And if so, how do you prove it? And that's where we need more research. Previous studies said that Black women have more hot flashes, more severe hot flashes, have flashes that last for longer duration, more years than others. But how, and that's irrespective of income. But the question is, how do you compare one woman's subjective experience to another? Meaning, how do you know that my definition of the severe is the same as the next woman? Or could it be that Black women in the United States feel a need to complain more, to embellish their symptoms more in order to be heard, in order to be taken seriously? I wonder, I don't know the answer, but we won't get an answer if we don't study the questions. It seems as though women are voicing their menopausal menopausal complaints more than ever, and their dissatisfaction with menopausal health care. And that's understandable if you aren't getting answers, if you aren't getting care. The European Society of Endocrinology has recently issued menopause guidelines for all healthcare providers. Sadly, they reported that when they were researching some basic questions to help establish guidelines, they found that frequently the studies used were of poor quality. Because you have to think about it at midlife, could there be other reasons for the symptoms and complaints of women beyond menopause? Could it be that ultra processed foods that we overly consume? Or could it be that the endocrine disruptive chemicals in our environment are contributing to the symptomatology that midlife women may be experiencing? Again, more questions in need of answers. Women need answers. Women need more research. And the research needs to be reflective of all women in this country. If nothing else, uh, as I come to the end of this brief podcast, please remember that menopause is physiologic, not pathologic. And that the more we allow the marketers to define this transition, to create a need in our minds, to make all of our midlife problems seem to be the result of menopause, the more it becomes something that we as women will feel a need to hide, to cure, and or to correct. And that's where the problem happens. So bottom line is that more research, more research is needed on women's health, particularly with women's health dealing with menopause. The marketing, the marketing of menopause and menopause services appears to be growing faster than our research or even our understanding of menopause. And for that reason, we as women, we may not be able to slow down the marketing, but we should be able to insist on more research and better understanding of menopause. Because if we don't, buyer beware. If you found this valuable, share it with one friend and join my email community at drrahman.com.